Good morning, everyone. I'm Stephen Holland, and along with my wife Karen, we're the pastors and corps officers at the Salvation Army in Chatham, Ontario, and I'd just like to welcome you this morning. It's a beautiful day, and I hope that the rest of the day will treat you well. Please leave a like, a comment, or add me as a friend. That would be great. We'd like to hear from you and how this message and this weekly get-together affects your life. So please leave a comment if you'd like. One of the things Karen and I enjoy doing is watching a good movie. But I don't just like any movie. I don't like those touchy-feely kind of Hallmark special movies. They are hard on my head. I prefer a good action movie, a good cop and robber kind of chase movie. But even in action movies, I like to be given a backstory for the main character. Backstories help me to know the character, and so that I can understand their motivation and why they're doing what they do. Without a backstory, it can be hard to understand what is happening until maybe halfway through the movie. You're wondering what's taking place. It's so confusing. I don't know what's going on. And to me, without a good backstory, it is confusing. For example, a movie where a dad like an actor, Liam Neeson, is in the middle of a chase to find his daughter and her captors. And then suddenly the movie flashes back to a scene where he and his daughter are arguing in the kitchen. Then it's like, wait, what? What does this have to do with anything in the movie? What does this have to do with the car chase? You see, a good backstory gives me context and helps me to make sense of what's happening at any given moment. Now, you might not be like that, but I am. I need a backstory. You see, even in our own life, I think we find it important to understand why things happen the way they do. For example, we're rolling along and everything's doing well and our life is going well. We're living the life we want, and then in a moment, we're thrown into a sickness, or a family member gets sick, a relationship ends, or there's a death. And we find ourselves asking questions like, what's happening? What's the point of going through this? The response usually happens when we face a hardship, especially when we're facing what seems to be something pointless. For the past few weeks, we've been talking about what to do when we don't know what to do. So today I'm going to continue that talk about what do we do when people hurt us or a loved one dies. Those are big questions. What do we do when we experience a major illness or a divorce? Or when we're struggling with an addiction? Very hard questions. In other words, what do we do when we don't know what to do with real life, heavy, painful stuff? Maybe when we face those challenges, our first reaction is to ask why. Why is this happening to me? Why am I going through this? Why is this happening now when everything was going so good? And really, difficulties can feel random, pointless, and unnecessary. Sometimes we can look back at our decisions and see why stuff happened. For example, maybe our marriage is struggling and we look back and we realize that over the course of months or years, we made some bad decisions and it affected our relationship. But unlike a movie, our difficult circumstances don't usually get wrapped up in 2 hours or 2.5 hours, does it? We all experience all the good, the bad, and the ugly on the other side of our hurt. And when things don't go like we want it to go, it can be difficult for us to see any point in our pain. It can be difficult to find hope despite the hurt, or to find a determination to keep going despite the difficulties. But did you know, when we find our life to be confusing or difficult, that we can learn from how others had to deal with their situations? We can learn by looking at people who experienced some tremendous and unexpected hardships. How did they get through it? Over the last few weeks, we've been looking at the life of Joseph. Now, although this happened thousands of years ago, this story was written, it's still important for us today, because in this story, we can find something for us. Now, here's a brief recap of the story so far, if you haven't followed along the last few weeks. Now, Joseph was sold by his brothers, and he was taken to a foreign land, and he was falsely accused of doing something he didn't do, and was thrown into prison. If anyone earned the right to ask, what's the point? Why is this happening to me? It was Joseph. And that's where we'll pick up today. Joseph was in jail for a crime he didn't commit, and then his story took a truly unexpected turn. Genesis 41-8 says this: "Sometime later, the cupbearer and the baker for the king of Egypt offended their master, who was the king of Egypt. Pharaoh was angry with his two officials, the chief cupbearer and the chief baker, and he put them in custody of the house of the captain of the guard, in the same prison where Joseph was confined. The captain of the guard assigned to them Joseph, and he attended them. Now after they had been in custody for some time, the cupbearer and the baker for the king of Egypt, who were being held in prison, had a dream the same night, and each dream had a meaning of its own. And when Joseph came to them the next morning, he saw that they were dejected. So he asked Pharaoh's officials who were in custody with him in the master's house, 'Why do you look so sad today?' 'We both have dreams,' they answered, 'but there is no one to interpret them.' Then Joseph said to them, 'Do not interpretations belong to God? Tell me your dreams.'" There's a lot going on here, but it's important to understand that even though Joseph was in jail, he continued to honor God. So the men told Joseph their dreams, and with God's help, Joseph told them what they meant. And based on their dreams, the chief cupbearer, Joseph said to him, he would be released from prison and restored to his position again. And he was. And for the chief baker, Joseph said he wouldn't be so lucky. And he wasn't. Given what Joseph had done to help the cupbearer out, we would assume the cupbearer would tell Pharaoh all about the guy he met in prison who could interpret dreams. But that's not what happened. Instead, the cupbearer forgot all about Joseph. He got out of jail, went on with his life, and Joseph continued to serve a sentence for something he didn't do. It's possible that Joseph reached an entirely new level of despair, isn't it, after this incident? And maybe he thought, what was the point of God helping him interpret this dream? Had God forgotten about him? "I thought I did the right thing," maybe he said, "and yet here I am still in jail. What was the point of all that?" Now let's move forward 2 years. Now 2 years is a long time when you're in jail. And Pharaoh had 2 dreams that troubled him. He desperately searched for someone on his staff who could interpret them, but no one could. And that's when the cupbearer remembered Joseph. So Pharaoh called for Joseph, who correctly interpreted the dream. As a result, eventually Joseph was made second in command of all of Egypt. Only Pharaoh was more powerful. Not only that, but under Joseph's leadership, Egypt survived a terrible famine, which eventually put Egypt in a position to save Joseph's family and people from his homeland who were suffering from the famine. But it's not like Joseph's life instantly improved after he did the right thing. It was 2 full years before the cupbearer even remembered Joseph. And even when Joseph was promoted to a position of incredible power, he was still living in a foreign land. You see, it wasn't like Joseph was now able to go home as a free man. Joseph was still under Pharaoh, which meant that if Pharaoh was having a bad day and decided he wanted Joseph dead, he could snap his fingers and make it happen at any moment. This turn of events did not make Joseph's life perfect, not even close. But when we see the big picture and understand the backstory, we see that Joseph's challenging circumstances uniquely positioned him to do something great. But that doesn't mean that all the good things that eventually happened to Joseph and his world made all the bad things disappear. It didn't. He still had all those bad things happen to him in the past. It still affected his life. Now, being promoted to second in command didn't undo the challenges Joseph faced leading up to that point. But those difficult circumstances positioned him and prepared him for something great, something only he could do. You see, challenges will happen in life, in our life. And most of the time, we'll search for meaning to why stuff happens. And yet it's important to remember that just because something happens doesn't mean it was something God did to us or wanted for us. Now, people today, I've heard them say that this COVID that's going on, this pandemic, it's God's punishment on the world. I disagree with that. It's man's problem that caused this COVID. You see, it's because of sin that things happen. It's because of sin that things aren't fair and don't make sense. But we need to understand that when it seems like it's impossible for anything good to come out of a bad situation, remember that God is good at doing the impossible. Listen to this amazing statement from the Apostle Paul in Romans 8:28. We know that God causes everything to work together for the good of those who love God and are called according to his purposes for them. Now, it may not seem to make things completely better, and it may not even make sense yet, but God is in the business of taking our hurt and our difficulties and our pain and making something positive out of them. This means that even if someone or something was done in evil to us and meant for evil in our lives, God can use it for good. And not just for us, but for others. You see, when we don't know what to do, we need to remember that our problems can position us for a purpose. This doesn't mean we'll always understand the why question behind every bad thing. It doesn't mean everything will be fixed and go back to being how it was before that bad thing happened. But it does mean we can leave room for God to tell a new story. Tell a new story through our circumstances. It means we can have confidence in God's ability to change things. It means we can know that good can come from bad. It means that bad stuff doesn't get the last word. Tough times aren't the end of our story. Instead, they begin to become part of our story. So when we go through pain and we can't see the purpose for it, there are two truths to help us expand our perspective and our hope. First, our difficult circumstances aren't fun, but they can put us in a position to learn and grow and discover things no one else can. You see, God can use our tough stuff in ways we can't imagine, and he can shape us in ways we don't yet understand. But knowing this doesn't make life's challenges easier, does it? But it can give us a perspective and a way to see things differently. Secondly, it's important to know that no one else has our life story. Yes, people go through similar circumstances, but this is our life story. And because of that, we can be a voice to help others through their challenges and pain. So when we do go through family drama, it will enable us to help people who are going through their family drama. When we go through a divorce, it will give us the empathy to understand how someone else feels when they're going through a hard divorce. When we deal with a sickness, an illness, or an injury, it will teach us how to encourage people who are going through the same thing. When we've had big doubts and questions in our faith, questioning will help us to be a safe place for people who are asking questions of their own. The truth is, the next best thing to having something fixed for us is having someone who understands and walks alongside our mess. You see, Joseph went through pain that felt pointless. But when we see his backstory, we see that God used his problems to position him for a purpose. God took his impossibility, his bad situations, and used it to create unimaginable good down the road. And he is not alone, because God is doing the same for us. He is working in our life. We may not see that today, but he is working with us to tell our story so that we can get to where we need to be. What if we believe that God is taking our pain and our struggles, things that don't make sense right now, and is using those things to position us for something amazing that we haven't imagined yet? You see, life is hard. We all face unknown circumstances. And we all question why. Why is this happening? What do we do when we don't know what to do? We give it over to God and allow him to work in our life and use the brokenness, the hurt, the sickness, and all that we have for his purpose. And he will have a purpose for our life. You know, Karen is doing a wonderful thing with her sickness. She's home most days, and she does these little coloring things, Christian sayings, and she mails them out. She's mailed out about 300 so far to various people. And everyone who has received it, I'm sure, are blessed by it. Some of them have responded back that they are facing cancer themselves and this hit the right spot. Some are writing back and saying, I just needed this today. It helped me through my situation because I just broke up in a relationship and I was struggling, and these are the exact words I needed today. You know, it's about moments with God. And these moments with God, He can use their challenges and our difficulties to affect others and to affect our life. And I know Karen is one of those people who has helped people in their life because of what she's going through. She still has to face what's coming ahead. And there's days that she struggles. There's days that she's nervous and afraid. But it's in those giving back to others, helping others see their life and how much that they're cared for and loved, that it gives her encouragement and strength. Because she trusts in God, that God has a better story for her. And God has a better story for you this morning. You know, if you're struggling, going through hard times, it's time for you to release it all and give it over to Him. It doesn't make it easier. You still have to face your stuff. But He'll give you the peace and courage and strength to get through any circumstance you have. Let me pray for you. Father God, I pray for those who are listening. I pray that you be with them, bless them, that you would encourage them and help them. Even in their times of struggle, in their times of difficulty, that you would just lay your hand upon them and let them feel your presence each and every moment. For those who do not know you, for those who are struggling in a relationship with you, make yourself real to them. Help them to find you in new circumstances. Bring alongside them someone who can share their story and help them get through their challenges. Father, help us to know you. May anyone who is listening who doesn't know you right now, may the Holy Spirit just descend upon them and just bring them close to you. May we all feel your Spirit and love, encouragement, and may we all be forgiven our sins. And I pray this in Jesus' name. Amen. Friends, I thank you for listening to me. Please leave a comment or a like and share this if you'd like with others. Now may God bless you and encourage you. May His face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May He lift up your life and give you all that you need to get through your day, your week, and your month ahead. Thank you. Please leave a like or a comment. I'd appreciate it. God bless and have a great week.